Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, we'll call this public hearing to order. I appreciate everyone being here. We had a few here during 11 o'clock. Sheriff, I think he'll be over in a little bit. I think maybe Chambers or whatever. But well, let's go ahead and open it up. Y'all want to come up and talk to us? Any questions about the, our millage rate, the actual millage rate, and how, any questions at all? I've got the people here that can answer it. Pretty much our millage rate's going to stay the same this year. We're not, changing that, not going up on it. I mentioned this at 11 o'clock. The advertisements in the paper, the only people that will receive an increase, at all in their taxes is the people's property that has went up in value, as far as from last year to this year. And that would be the only increase. The millage rate, which usually affects that, or does affect it and control it, as I said, it'll stay the same for this year. So, if you got any questions, now's the time to ask them or whatever.
Okay, I guess a question would be,
yeah, come up here, we can.
Yep, you're on TV.
So I guess the question would be, like, on the live streams, why questions are not addressed on there, because some people can't drive down here, and I know they can call you and ask the questions and get the answers, but other people may want to know those answers as well. Mm-hmm. And then what's the intent for the property on Sales Lane? Was it just purchased last week by the county?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about not the millage rate. You don't be. Well, we're not here, but we can explain that. That was we assumed it from the water authority. We were part owners in it, the county. Anyway, we had $75,000 and we had a $25,000 rent. So, but we assumed that note from them at our last meeting. We did. And what was the other question? Did you want to know?
What was the intent for it?
The intent right now is actually for the future. Of our county as far as water, resource. We got one source of water, which is Lookout Creek. We got a couple of wells, they pull out of, and so, in the future, I say this, but probably after I'm gone or whatever, Dade, there'll be probably a reservoir hopefully built over there. Water Authority had been trying to buy that land back when I was in high school. Even they had tried to purchase that from the farmers that owned it, Miss Sales and them, and they said it'd never be sold. And so about 2019, or it's been several years, 2 or 3 years ago. 18. She actually was put in a nursing home. She's passed away now, and it was left to her children, the son and the daughter. And he decided to go ahead and retire and sell that part of the farm. And they had actually, and the reason it was so critical, or kind of a key place then. The engineers at that time, they looked throughout the county for a place on the Lookout Mountain runoff there, which that's where we get our water, that would be ideal for a reservoir. And that was the ideal place because it's so close to the intake of water, of where we pull our water from the creek. Right now, we just want to clean it up and get it presentable where people can go down and enjoy. If you've been over there, you know anything, where it's at. You need to go down. Really after next week, we'll have it where you can kind of go over there and walk down and just see what it looks like. It's some place. I mean, and it's going to be great just for the young people and old people or whatever, to go down and just enjoy themselves walking, kayaking, or whatever. Or we hope to put some. An area down there where you can go and grill out, and stuff like that. And it's one of the only pieces of property that we've got in the Dade County that you own and that we own, everybody owns, that you can access that creek without going across private property, and actually go down and and stay. I mean, actually, and that's the recreational part's what we were interested in, the county. Even if the reservoir had been built like the next year, what we wanted to be kind of in charge of, or actually would be the recreational part of it, and a walking area and walking trail, So I don't know if that answers your question, but
there's 3,800 feet of creek main.
3,800 feet.
Yeah. So we rode over it today with Billy Mansengale, man, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of property, but
How much are we paying a month on that land?
1,000, I think it's 1,000 what?
14 something.
$1,400, I think is what,
And then my other question was about the live stream, about answering questions off of there.
and you're talking about on our, why do we not answer, I mean, you answer about anything that's asked, right?
I think the question, let me clarify if that's okay. Are you talking about if we're having a meeting, like a millage rate meeting or a commission meeting, why public online can't ask those questions to the commissioners? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and get them answered, or even on that radio.
So like on KWIN,
Oh, I wouldn't mind it at all if
Well-
Evan wanted to do that.
Well, I don't know, you could say, but for me, I can't see what is being said, when we're in a meeting. So if Carrie was to answer or somebody was to answer, I might go, hey, why'd you say that? That's not what.
Well, in a
you know,
meeting though,
like-
I think we're just in there a little bit, you can't, legally, I don't think you could do it in a meeting, like in a call meeting, without,
Yeah,
now,
I
there's a-
think there's a,
yeah, we need to look at it because, but on that radio thing, I don't mind a bit. I'd take all the calls that if you
There-
want to put the time forth, I don't, what now?
there are a couple of things. KWIN is a radio station and television station that is owned by their own corporation. We are their guests. They do not take questions during those segments. They call it their newsmaker segment. So the school superintendent's on there one day, there might be somebody from the Alliance for Dade on there another day, they have the commission. So we're there as their guests. That's not our show.
So they don't want us asking questions. They
That's
want to be the one to ask.
that's correct. It's their interview.
Yeah, they're there to make, I guess, to pull the viewers
their-
in to make, I guess,
it's
but
their
I don't mind, if
interview.
he wants to do that, I like talking, I can talk, I don't,
Yeah,
I talk a lot more than I can, answer emails. If I answered emails, I wouldn't be able to do anything all day long, or texts. I like people to call me, I don't mind it, answer my phone.
talk faster.
The
than
other
you
thing
type.
is the time limit on the show. It's a very short show. It's very brief. And as for the questions online, we want to make sure that we're answering Dade County citizens. And as you're aware, on social media, anybody can log in from anywhere and be asking those questions. For instance, back during the election, we had people from Germany and from Canada who were logging in regularly to our social media, and we have no way to know if the people asking those questions have a vested interest in Dade County or if they're from somewhere else. So it's always best to make sure that our citizens are getting their fair say here in person and in public. And, we know that we had a public hearing this morning at 11. We had this one tonight. And we have those at different times so that different people can attend at those different times. It's not to exclude people from getting to come to the meetings. It's to make sure that our citizens are getting what they need.
And I only ask that because gas is so high, we've got senior citizens that can't drive,
Sure.
Yeah.
so.
And that's a great question. And our commissioners have responded to a couple of emails this week that we've received from people who have questions. So any questions can be asked at any time of any commissioner or of our staff just by emailing info@dadecounty-ga.gov or by calling any of our commissioners. They answer their phones all the time. So, you don't have to drive or come down. They'll listen to you at any time because you're right, gas is high. So, but they're great about listening. And our staff at info@dadecounty-ga, people frequently email that and get those answers.
But that's something, you wouldn't believe how many times a month or a week even, and I go to people's house and talk to them. And people, just like you said, a lot of people on the mountains that don't drive, they don't have internet. They don't even they wouldn't know how to turn a computer on if they had to, and they barely got phones, I'll be honest with you. And I visit a lot of people. I've accepted a lot of people. They come in and they want me to, and I stay and try to explain to them, different things. A lot of it's sometimes about taxes. A lot of it's things that you wouldn't think would even have anything to do with commission, even property line disputes, like for right of ways, and they don't understand, and I try to try to do that, you know. You have to in a rural area. You couldn't do it if it's in Atlanta or Cobb County. There's no way you could ever, but we're small, you know, we're still small, even though we got 16,000 plus people. You got to take it to heart, you know. You got to go, you know, because just like you said, there are a lot of people, a lot more people than people think are out there that really, they don't maybe come to Trenton once a week or maybe sometimes once a month, you know, and they come and get their check and they go buy the groceries and go home, you know.
Yeah, I had a lady,
You know.
a week or two ago called me and she said she works all the time, so when she gets home, she literally changes her clothes and goes to bed and then leaves again. And they had changed something with the cell tower and it was like a flashing light. And she said, I know that I could probably get a hold of somebody, but I'm so busy at work all the time and I don't have time. So I said, yeah, give me 24 hours and I'll try to see what I could do. But I ended up talking to everybody. Nobody knew who owned the property, so I just rode over there and looked at the tower and got the number from the tower and called over there. So, you know, just anytime anybody can call, it's, you know, we want to help for sure.
I guess my intent was to stop the duplicate questions, and also other people may have the same questions
Sure.
online, so.
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It would be hard though, because Carrie's probably the only one that's probably seeing those at the time, so it would be hard for her to answer for the commissioners.
Did she come up here to the podium and then ask it, and y'all answered?
And that, we wouldn't know who's asking the question. It could literally be somebody from halfway around the world. We would not know. Now, you're more than welcome. The commissioners have made sure that I am equipped to answer questions. They're equipped, so we have cell phones that you can text day or night, call, email. There are plenty of ways to get those questions answered, and they're more than willing to answer those. All of our commissioners are very great about answering their phones, especially Ted, County Executive Rumley, is great about answering those questions. Just call directly. If you need a county question answered, call us. We will gladly answer your questions.
Then I wanted to ask, since if it's for a reservoir, why wouldn't the water company want to keep it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't know. The board's changed.
I am very shocked about that myself.
Would you
so-
mind if would you?
Didn't they do a contractor that said that it wasn't gonna work for a reservoir?
No, they don't.
Would you
No.
mind if I repeated that question in the microphone? We have people who are watching online and they can't hear without a mic. So what was,
Well, it's just, I know you don't want to get it, but that's,
the
they just at
question
the time
was,
cannot afford it, and they didn't see any time in the future they could afford it, you know, but it's something that you will see and, you know, it will happen one day because we'll need it. You're gonna wake up one day and we'll have water, you'll be limited to the water you can use, you know, in Dade County. If that creek keeps going down like it's going, you know, and we have 2 or 3 more droughts, just like out they are in the western part, it's just, it's something that, you know, it's gonna be needed here. Our children, our grandchildren need it, yeah.
Since you phrased it that way, in defense of the water company, when they were here and had that meeting, that we had a joint meeting, and I know that the chairman of that water company has had people say, well, they said it couldn't be done. They never said it could not be done.
Never.
That it was gonna be expensive, which I think we all knew that.
Yeah.
And the permitting process, all that you have to go through to do it. But no one ever said, though, that engineering firm never said it couldn't be done. But they did, the water company then, they said, we don't have time, money, or manpower, is what, that was their reasoning to, in a meeting just like this, a joint meeting with
And why
the
would
commission.
the county have to do? I mean,
Because we're the governing authority, we're responsible for you, for the people. That's what we're elected to do. We've got to look for, it's just like when
the county people vote on it?
you vote for us to represent you. And we
Y'all
actually,
vote the way we want you to.
That's a good question because, ma'am, there's people that have told me, I wish we had that lake. There's people saying, don't spend a penny of mine. Everybody doesn't want the same thing. And that's the reason I've used this term many times. If you were gonna run for office, and if I ask you, why are you, I'm gonna be the voice of the people, I'm probably not gonna vote for you. Because which people? You've got to make a decision.
Yeah.
Because line up 20 people, 13 one way, 7 the other, which one's right? Is it a majority rule, or do you have to go back as someone making that decision that you got to live with as a commissioner, or whatever capacity you're in, and you go back and say, you know what, the 7 are right? Then you can't.
I came into this was done way before I even got here, and for weeks, actually months, since I got elected and got into this position, that reservoir was thought of and talked about. I have talked to multiple people, and the week before I knew the meeting was coming that we actually had to vote for it, I prayed a lot and tried to make the best decision for the people. I was the one that went out to talk to people about it. Nobody came to me and said, oh, I don't want the reservoir, or I don't want this, or I don't want that. So when I sat up here and made my decision, I felt like it was a good investment for Dade County because we had already got grants for it. The water company had already paid so much money for it. So, whether it sits there for a while and we decide, okay, well, maybe this isn't the best thing, it's still a good investment. But it also is the thought of the future of, my kids, my kids' grandkids. If there was ever Dade County needed water, whether it was expensive or not expensive to do it, it's logistics of getting it there. And, it's a hard place to be to make that decision, a real hard place.
I'll use one for instance real quick, and we'll move on, because we're supposed to read on. We're supposed to be talking about Millage, right? But when I was here, when we bought the property down here and built these soccer fields, and we took more grief from people that said, why should I pay taxes for these kids to have a place down here to play? Why? Why would you want to buy land and it'll never be used because kids don't play soccer in Dade County? Well, back then, I almost agree with it because we didn't play soccer when I was in school. But look at it, and I mean, it's amazing, 400 or 500 kids down there in the evenings playing, football where it's used, but I remember going through that. Why would we want to even add on to the ball fields? But people weren't thinking about, the kids that were coming along, and after the second or third year of looking at that, I thought, whoa, I'm glad we did that because of what it is now, but.
80% of the people in Dade County retired and on Social Security?
No, not 80%. No, it's.
I don't know what the percentage is. I know I am.
Yeah.
I'm one.
I'm going to.
I would not think.
I don't know what those numbers are somewhere, but I don't know them.
The last census
that would
number
be-
said the average age was 35 in Dade County. That was
Yeah,
according
that
to
was
the last
the
census.
comprehensive plan should be in there.
Yeah.
How much did the county purchase that land for, including interest, and how long are you paying the $1,400?
It was, what was that on, 322,000 or something like that, and then 0%, 300% interest, yeah.
One.
$331,885. 0.21% interest.
To 1%, yeah.
Yeah.
And how many acres is it?
60.
Almost 70
one or two.
acres, something like that, somewhere in there after you. And it would today bring well over $500,000 if we sold it. Waste property selling right now if it was sold, Cause it's pretty, it's got, a lot, most of it's bottom land, but there's an area up on if you go over there, you'll see what I'm talking about, that you could build probably maybe 10 houses on it, 8 or 10, if you wanted to do that, but that would be a wasted, beautiful place to do that, to put houses. But we'll move on. Anybody else got any questions about millage rate? Okay, we're gonna leave it at 8%, and we got another meeting next Thursday. That will be the, now is that the school board? Is that one we'll have to do the
No.
school board? No, that will be August the 3rd, right?
At our regular commission meeting.
Yes.
August 4th. Is it 4th?
So, we'll
August
go
4th.
ahead and, what now?
August 4th.
The 4th.
That Thursday.
I appreciate y'all being here and asking questions, and I wish you'd come back to commission meetings, I always say that, I wish we could fill this place that we used to. You used to have refreshments, and you know, but I know a lot of people can't come, they're not able to, but the ones that can, you know, and whether they like us or don't, they need to come and keep up what's going on, and that way, you know, you can lay it on the table, you know, you look us in the eye.
And we did, when
Yeah,
you
we
were
will.
doing the COVID reports,
I know that.
we took questions
Yeah.
online because it was here where we could do that.
But anyway, we'll go ahead and, we'll adjourn the meeting, or it's not a meeting, I'm sorry, it's a public hearing. You can't say it's a meeting. There's a difference, believe me.
Yeah,
But
oh, I
we'll go ahead and we'll
know. I
adjourn
know.
the hearing, and I do appreciate y'all coming and everyone tuning in for us. Thank you.